But yeah, we'll be talking Indiana football obviously every week on Indiana Hoosiers Live. But there's a lot more happening in the world of Indiana sports. I want to briefly touch on Indiana women's basketball, and then I want to dive just head first into the concrete for Indiana men's basketball because that's going to be a fun conversation. But actually, the Indiana women's conversation is somehow worse. Real quick, the only thing that's happened really in the last week is Yarden Garzon hit the portal. Last week, I was literally wearing my Yarden Garzon shirt. I'm crushed. My heart hurts. I have no other take. I don't have a take. I have no take.
Like,
I don't have any
like,
analysis. I just hurt.
It's clearly like this is the bad side of the. Yes, Indiana has been killing it in the portal and NIL and stuff like that, but that's for football and men's basketball. Are we putting in the NIL for women's basketball? Like, do we sacrifice a little men's basketball, football, NIL? I don't know what the answer is, guys. I
don't even know if NIL is the problem.
I think a lot of people know which way I'm going to lean, at least like where the NIL should go. I think Terry Morin's a great coach, and obviously she probably deserves some NIL funding to build a good little team that can
real quick
get over the hump.
Before we and maybe this happened in the last, maybe I missed it kind of as I was doing my like re-scroll through for the show, but I haven't seen any indication that this is NIL related.
Is she gonna go abroad?
She has a do not contact tag. That's all I saw.
Oh, it's so NIL. Or all that means is that she knows what she's doing already. All that means.
Mm-hmm.
So whether she's being tampered with NIL or she's going to go play abroad, which is
if you're going to go play abroad, you're not going to transfer.
Oh yeah, I guess she's in the portal. She didn't say she's not coming back to IU, which is totally different.
So I really hope it's not an NIL thing. I'd like to hope that Terry Morin has the backing and that there's like there's what Coach Pundit was saying. We have the second largest living alumni base in the U.S. Like we could squeeze some fellas. Let's figure it out if that's really the issue. I hope it's not something where like there's I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but yeah, that just sucks. I'm a huge fan of Garzon and hoping the best for her. But yeah, that one sucks.
Yeah, tough. Definitely our best player this past year, so just absolutely gutted to see her go. Let's move on before I cry. Let's talk about men's basketball.
Yeah, let's talk about men's hoops. Coach DeVries was making the rounds this week. Last week he was at the Indiana High School semifinals, I think, or the finals games. I know Mike Woodson caught a lot of shit for not being at those games. So for DeVries to go the first opportunity he gets, obviously a massive PR win for him. He was at Upstairs Pub, I believe, either early last week or I can't remember if we talked about it last week or not. He was at Buffalo's. So he's just been making the rounds, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing all the things that a coach should do. And he also, you might not know it if you were just been scrolling through the grifters, but he is putting together a staff. He added Drew Adams from Cincinnati, Bloomington guy. I believe, I believe the internet. Somebody's going to have to stat correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I think Drew Adams' father runs the Indiana Elite AAU team. I know that Adams has a documented good relationship with Flory Badunga, a potential transfer portal target for the Hoosiers. So a huge get for Darren DeVries on his staff. He also brought Nick Norton with him. He was on the staff, I believe, at West Virginia and at Drake. And a new strength coach, Ryan Horn, is coming. We saw the message Cliff Marshall posted. There's a lot of differing opinions on, a lot of people have a lot of opinions on Cliff Marshall, but one thing you can't say about him is you can't question the type of person he was. By all accounts, a very A+ human being. You saw the people come out in full support of him. A lot of his former players thanking him for the work that he did, both like in the weight room and then like as a human in their life. So wishing Cliff the best.
Is that a send off for Cliff Marshall?
No, I guess it turned into a mini send off. But then my question is, how do you feel about the staff that DeVries is putting together here? Sorry to
they added the one
on that for you.
The one assistant, and then they got rid of Cliff Marshall.
2 assistants.
Oh, okay.
And actually, people are pumped about Drew Adams is already on the website.
Yeah, Drew Adams apparently has ties with Flory Badunga, is what I'm hearing, which is...
Yeah, you heard that from me about 6 seconds ago.
Yeah, I know. And then and then crap. And then yeah, no, I like that Cliff Marshall's gone. I like that. I like that a lot, personally. I think, it's
It was
very
time for a
telling.
change. And it
Yeah.
was like there's a purge of the department going on right now. Like Tim
Oh,
Garl,
it's clear
a
house. Everyone's gone. The
long
only guy
time
who's safe is
Indiana
Cheney.
athletics trainer who got swept up and named in the Bomba suit a couple weeks ago. He's not coming back. I think also with it was telling in the lack of information flow from the coaching search of what the circle of importance, I guess, in the department is. And I think that is going to start being shown with who's not going to come back next year. So the purge that people were asking for better or for worse, whether they were good people or bad people as humans, it was just time to move on as a department and as a program.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better myself. It doesn't really matter how good or bad they were as humans. I think it's just a scenario where you just got to kind of clear house. Like I was saying, I think the only guy who should probably be retained is Calbert Cheney, just because A, his ties to the program, and B, I think he has a great resume, even at Indiana. I think his work with all the guys like Umar Bala this past year, getting him ready, shooting right-handed from the free throw line. Not saying he was really good at it, but I don't think he was much better shooting righty than they had him shooting lefty this past. Right, he went righty. They had him shooting right, and he's actually a lefty, which is crazy. Insane. But yeah, it's a clear house scenario. Yeah, excited to see what he does with the staff. I'm just trusting D-Rock at this point. I'm just riding with it, and I'm not really going to judge him until January is kind of what I want to see. But, exciting just to see the stuff happen. I like that this guy has Flory Badunga ties. I think that's huge if we can bring that guy in. Like I said, I think we have 14 spots to fill right now. It's just Trent Sisley, and Tucker DeVries hasn't even committed yet. So it's like, I don't know, after the coach's son, it's like 13 spots are available. And I mean, that's just a whole new team.
I want to, and I'll continue to repeat this until we get to those dates, and then I can't use this as cover anymore if it gets to that point. But last year at West Virginia, it took DeVries about a month before he brought in his first player. The Tucker DeVries thing, I saw it confirmed by Time on Twitter today that he's waiting on a waiver. That's semantics. The dude was in an IU hoodie at the press conference. Darren DeVries in his Hoosiers Connect interview last week talked about having his son in the locker room. Like he's going to be on the team.
Yeah.
But like I said, last year for West Virginia, it was like April 18th to the 21st before the first player committed to that team. Dusty May last year at Michigan, I think same thing. It was like April 18th, 20th before he brought his first guy in. So I want to emphasize that they're still putting together a staff. They're being strategic with who they're bringing in. They are looking at guys like we'll get to it in a second, but I was going through trying to compile the who Indiana has reached out to list, and then I scrolled down and Inside the Hall had the whole list compiled. So shout out to Inside the Hall for doing the work that was already, for having it done what I was already trying to struggle to figure out. So that was dope. But there's a nice list of guys they're looking at here, and we'll get into that in a second. But I think patience is again, it's hard because you're watching. You're watching a lot of key guys and talented guys commit to big name places, to rivals in conference. And it's just be patient because there's a plan in place. And it's just let's let things play out first before we panic.
Yeah. I'm not going to panic about IU basketball until, I don't know, probably the Purdue football game, maybe. Not even that. Not even until football season. It's football season. I don't know. I'm like, basketball's going to do their thing, and they're going to, I'm going to trust D-Rock, see what year one's going to look like, and obviously we'll break it down as it goes. I don't think there's any reason to have any sort of emotion toward it or anything. Like, you don't know any. Like, anyone who's like calling DeVries, like Converse, because the fact that there are is just insane, and they're already shitting on them, and it's just like we're doing the same thing over again, guys. Like, let's like relax.
Yeah, can we make it?
Like,
can we make it like a month?
get some yoga or something. Like, I don't know. Find your zen. Get some.
There's only
You
3
know,
guys on campus in the last 2 days. Like, let's relax.
I don't even care. Like, I know it. Like, calling it the biggest recruiting day in IU history is just ludicrous. By the way, ludicrous. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you? How could you say that? Like that okay, the next official visit day for IU football is going to be the biggest recruiting day of all time. Like, I'm not like, just because a bunch of top 10 on 24/7 guys are coming on campus doesn't mean it's going to fix IU basketball. Like, we all saw what happened last year, bringing in Bala, bringing in Rice, bringing in Carlisle, all these top rated guys. Like, it didn't work. Why would you do that to yourself again? Just like, obviously D-Rock has a better handle on the college game, and probably getting those top guys is probably going to work out more in his favor. And he understands how to build a college roster much better than Woodson does. But to have any sort of feeling toward this rebuild with one guy on the roster, he's not even on campus yet. One guy, there are 0 guys in Bloomington right now that are like playing for Indiana. Like, I mean, obviously there's guys on campus literally right now, but you know what I'm trying to say right now. There's 0 people on the roster. Obviously Trent Sisley and Tucker DeVries are coming for sure, but everything else is up in the air. There's 0 reason to even, it just happened. Like, obviously it's probably better to talk about this than to watch the college basketball crown that's going to happen. That bullshit that's going to go down this week. Holy crap. It's that stuff is like the South Park episode where they're playing the Little League World Series South Park episode where they just try to lose on purpose. That's the college basketball crown. But at least we're not in that. So that's good. It's like, holy smoke. Like, there's so much time. Like you were saying, like, Dusty May didn't get his first guy till April 18th, is what you just told me.
Yeah, somewhere in the back end of April.
He just went to a Sweet 16. Like, I don't.
Yeah, there's plenty of time left. Like I said,
So
they had guys on campus. Like, they had Ryan Conwell on campus, I think, yesterday. They had Connor Enright there today, and Josh Dix was there yesterday or today. I couldn't tell. There was tweets that were saying he had pictures already. There was tweets asking for the pictures today. I don't know.
Let's say they get all those guys. I'm going to be saying the same thing. Like, until January, like, who's to say at this point? Like, I just want to see it start happening. I'll start talking about it in November when they start playing. But let's be realistic with ourselves here. Since 1997 or since 2000, Indiana has made the Sweet 16 4 times. They have advanced past that once. Just think about that. Like, to have any sort of standard of like this isn't the Indiana way. Like, as far as I know, in my lifetime, Indiana basketball has been pretty stinking irrelevant. I know they've had really good teams in recent memory, and I know they have 5 banners, and it's awesome. Or we have 5 banners, and
yeah, what is it? What is this heel turn on the?
It's not a heel turn. I'm just saying, like, have faith, just support your school. Like, the idea that like there should be any sort of expectation right now is crazy. Is where I'm getting at. I'm not trying to shit on Indiana right now. It's my alma mater. I'm just saying, like,
no, I'm with you. There's
the whole fan base, like, 'cause I know it's dictating on like the old days and stuff like that. Like, old days are long gone. We got to rebuild and we got to do it right. So to have anything but unwavering support for Darren DeVries at this point is just, there's only one way to do it. And I don't know how many people are listening to my rant right now. Hopefully it's a impactful group of Indiana Hoosier fans that are going to spread the good word and, not panic when none of those guys are committed by this Friday or something like that. And I don't know. It's stay the course, guys. Stay the course, support Indiana. This stuff isn't built in a day. It's not.
I agree. So going back to that Inside the Hall transfer watch list, I sent it to you. I asked you to pick a couple guys you liked. Who stuck out?
I read that article, and obviously Bazmax that stands out right away. Obviously.
Yeah, we're big Bazmac guys. We had like a 20-minute Bazmac conversation where we were just like Bazmac. It was
anyone who's ever listened to Six Inside knows I allude to I like comparing like things to what I know, and what I know is UCLA football and basketball. It's what I grew up with before I attended Indiana University. I watched those teams very closely. I've seen the good, I've seen the bad. I know what they both look like. And I think that's what it's given me a really good perspective on the game, I feel like. Bazmac is a bench piece. He's an instant offense type guy. He's a guy who, if things aren't clicking on offense, you give him the ball and he'll either get to the line or make a tough layup or do something, just spark something. And he's very intense in the defensive end. Would just love to have that on the roster. Just Chicago guy. Like, obviously UCLA moved on from them because they have greater aspirations next year. They want to be the Dukes and the Auburns and the Floridas next year. And that's how they're approaching the portal, by letting some of these very talented players walk so they can upgrade them. Indiana is at a point where they're trying to get to the tournament. Guys like Sebastian Mack get you to the tournament, period. And that's just a guy Indiana should target. Rodney Rice, duh. Like, we watched Maryland last year. He's part of the allegedly the best starting five in college basketball last year. I think they were only called that because they didn't have any depth, but still a very good starting five. They were a 4 seed this past year. I'll take that guy. He's a very good shooter. I think he'd fit in well with what Darren DeVries wants to do. And then another name, I'll throw in Elijah Freeman, the Lincoln Memorial D2 6'8", as a freshman, dropped 18 a game. I remember I had this coach who told me, because I was a pretty good scorer growing up, right? And he'd always tell me, this was his like way of putting confidence in me. But I think it's very true, is that, scoring 20 points a game at any level is difficult. Just think about it. Like, you're in second grade, you're putting up 20 a game. That's probably very impressive. You're in middle school, putting up 20 a game. Very impressive. You're putting up 20 a game in high school, impressive. Putting up 20 in college, again, that's impressive. Doing it in NBA, it's impressive. Any level where you're putting up 20 points a game is impressive. He's putting up 18 as a freshman in D2. I'm sure you can find a role in the Big Ten level. 6'8", love to have him on the roster. I think that's definitely one of those, like, we talk about finding the diamonds in the rough, which is what like the John Tonjis at Wisconsin was able to do. A lot of that happened in the portal last year. A lot of these top contenders were leaning on guys that weren't super highly touted coming into the portal. This is an example of what could be one of those guys. And he's going to have 3 years of eligibility, which would be awesome to bring on campus and see how his career could develop at Indiana. That'd be cool. I'd love to see that happen. Love for him to get a shot. So apparently on this list, this is like who they've heard that they've talked to or who they want to.
No, these were, I believe it was confirmed names Indiana had reached out to. So that was Ryan Conwell, Connor Enright, Josh Dix, Flory Badunga, Sebastian Mack, Tyron Riley, the San Fran. They said he was a guard, but I also saw somebody describe him as like a wing. Again, like you said, Rodney Rice and then Elijah Freeman.
Yeah, this.
And I know that list is probably bigger.
The Riley kid seems like a Cohen Carr type player, maybe with like a. I saw him knock down a couple, but that doesn't convince me that he's not like a great shooter. I mostly saw him just dunk, so he's probably super
I didn't
athletic.
Get shooter from the.
Yeah, he's but yeah, right. To answer your question, right, for Rice, Freeman, and Bazmac are guys I would love to have in Indiana next year, personally. Obviously, any guy that was on campus this weekend would love to have him, but just going outside the box here, like those are my 3 names.
Yep. And then there's some interesting pieces from that West Virginia team. Like, Jonathan Powell is a guy that is getting some buzz from some teams that aren't Indiana. Like Indiana hasn't reached out there, which I thought was a little interesting. But Braden Hawthorne, who is a top 50 player in the class of 2025, who decommitted from West Virginia, released his top 7, I believe. Indiana was in there. That was along with West Virginia, Virginia, Dayton, Kansas State, Kentucky, and Michigan, I think.
Yeah, he's the Huntington Prep kid, same high school as Andrew Wiggins. Not saying he's going to be Andrew Wiggins, but it's a very elite university. There's a kid by the name of Chris Smith that played at UCLA for a long time. They've pumped guys consistently into a lot of 6'8", like a lot of 6'8" wings they pumped into the college game too that have been very productive in college. And I mean, it's very telling, guys coming from these big prep schools that are, yeah, I mean, it just plays. It continues on and on and on again. So another guy I would love to bring in. I've said before, I want all 3 of those West Virginia commits at Indiana. I think it'd be in the best interest for DeVries because he clearly wanted to build with those guys. So if he's able to still get them, I think that'd be huge.
Couldn't agree more. You got any closing thoughts on Indiana basketball, Brad?
Yeah, I really hope. One last thought. I really hope Don McLean's kid doesn't get scooped up by UCLA and it goes to Indiana. Is what I'm hoping for. So,
wow, that's very big of you.
He opened up his commitment, and I'm just worried that if Mick Cronin calls, he's gonna commit immediately. So I'm just hoping he doesn't get a phone call from Mick Cronin. Is just what I'm hoping, and that Don McLean's like, go play for the coach that you committed to originally. Indiana's a great place to play basketball, and I'll get to call some of your games, which will be awesome. So
that would be awesome. Do you want to talk about Malik, or do you just want to leave it?
What, the guy who said University of Indiana? That guy?
What? No, well, yeah, he releases top 5, top 6, or whatever, but there's very strong USC rumors. So
yeah. Oh my God. That makes sense. He'd probably be their best player. So good for him for going there. I think that's a perfect fit. Honestly, I would love to see him go to USC, drop 18 a game, and they're probably bottom of the pack in the conference. But he gets his numbers and he looks good. Love that for him.
I'm with it.
I think that'd be best in his best interest to do that. I think it's the best shot at the league, probably.